This is going to be the most profound step-by-step guide on running meta ads that you will ever find on YouTube. Okay, so I've generated over $400,000 with ads only for my clients. I've consistently hit a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, even sometimes a 10x ROAS on my campaigns. And I will break down every single thing. Okay, from writing the copy to designing the statics to being compliant, to structuring your ads, diversifying, to finding angles, right? To talking to the meta AI, stuff that literally no one understands, right? How to set up engagement campaigns, how to set up conditional logic campaigns, retargeting campaigns, how to target, how to set up your pixel, what to keep in mind, how to set up the conversions API, every single thing, and most importantly, the entire business setup in this video. So if you ever thought about running ads for your business, maybe you're running ads already, maybe you're doing it yourself, or you have a media buyer team, and you're just wondering about all these metrics. You think the CPL tells you everything about your campaign. Completely wrong. You're going to learn this video. Why? If you don't know what CPMs are, if you don't know how to decrease your CPMs, if you don't know how to consistently attract good leads on this platform, and basically don't have this understanding of what ads are in depth, this is going to be for you. After this video, you will probably have, and I'm not saying this lightly here, right? You will probably have more knowledge than your media buyer, depending on how skilled your media buyer is. But you will have the ability, if you're currently an online coach, if you're a high-ticket business owner, if you're running an online agency, whatever, to go out there and run ads confidently on your own, because I'm literally going to give you every single thing I know, right? So again, my name is Simon Asman. All I talk about here on this channel is scaling your high-ticket business to 6 to 7 figures a month. And this video is probably the most valuable lesson on this entire channel, because I know no good video that's not behind a paywall that's teaching you how to run meta ads without any theory talk over there, right? We're going to deep dive into practice. I will show you every single thing, right? Literally everything that you need to be aware of. So with that being said, guys, if you're new to this channel, welcome. And if you're already an old subscriber, welcome back, my friend. I've got a massive bang for you. Okay, so meta ads mastery. Yes, sir. I run ads across 5 different high-ticket businesses so far. Okay, I'm currently running ads. I'm currently running ads across 5 different high-ticket businesses. Even one more to add, probably. And I've generated $434,000 mainly in the BizOp niche, and $404,000 from that came from ads only. Okay, only $30K came from an organic webinar promo that we run. As you can see over there, this is currently one of our clients who we've scaled through 8 paid ads only. This guy has like 200 subscribers on YouTube, 100 on Instagram. We scaled him to over 6 figures this month alone. He was not profitable. He was literally burning money because he got burned by another agency. And this is another ad campaign where we run a webinar campaign. And this is literally one single campaign where we spent $90K on and generated $167,000 in revenue and $133,000 in cash. Obviously in profit would be a bit less, minus the ad spend, minus the commissions, minus the software costs, but still 6 figures. On this campaign, we had an 8.3x ROAS, so return on ad spend. We are hitting 10x ROAS across our webinar campaigns, for example, for this client. And we consistently getting a 3 to 6x ROAS on our weekly campaigns. Okay, this is very important. Like with ads, you can hit a big month, especially when you're doing it the first time, because you're automatically retargeting all of the people that you have on your Instagram audience. But keeping your ROAS consistent is what sets you apart from 99% of the market. Okay, so just want to show you some stats over there. For example, here you see myself typing in a message. We sell funnel at $90. Cost per qualified call is insane. And you're seeing 89 calls for a $90 cost. And these are mainly qualified calls. Obviously, some of them still need to be triaged out. Or we even got it down to $9. You see one of our clients massively happy. Just want to also say massive thanks to do my first 20K week, which is honestly mental. Yes, sir. This guy was at nearly 20K a month before, right? Literally 4x what he's making. And yeah, some more results over here. And with that being said, guys, I know what I'm doing. Okay, this is just what I want to say, because especially in the media buying space, what I just discovered, and we're going to dive right in a second. Maybe you know this already because you hired some agency. A lot of people think they know how to run ads, but when you look at them, they have absolutely no idea what they say. And I know this because we're currently partnering with a partner client where they have a media buyer. And this guy obviously has no fucking idea what he's doing, right? So with that being said, guys, let's dive right in. We're going to start with the setup phase, where you're explaining this is probably one of the most important phases, and nobody talks about this. How to set up your business manager and the entire setup in a way that you don't get flagged within the first 7 or 14 days within running ads. And most importantly, how to set up your business manager in a way that Meta rewards you with lower advertising costs. Okay. Next thing is going to be the pixel and the conversions API, where I break down exactly what this is. Okay. How to optimize for it, what to do, how to set up the conversions API, and how to protect your entire pixel like a fortress. Okay. I will run you through direct response ads, cold ads, retargeting ads, the harvester strategy, a Jeremy Haynes strategy, pretty strong engagement campaigns, great to lower your costs, hammer them ads. And we'll discuss scaling. I even have a financial model prepared for you guys. We're going to deep dive into this later. With that being said, guys, and most importantly, obviously, we're going to review my entire ad copy that I'm currently running. Literally 6-figure ad copy, multiple 6-figure ad copy. So with that being said, the setup phase. Before you run a single ad, you need 4 things set up correctly. Okay, Meta's trust system is based on account age, activity history, verification, and engagement. You can't imagine how many times Meta policies will be one of the biggest hurdles in your business. I'm telling you this. Like, all of our campaigns that we run, the biggest problem has always been Meta taking down our accounts, blocking our ads, flagging us. This happens a lot, man. Everywhere. We even got our Instagram account taken down with 26K followers. Okay. So most people skip the setup phase, which is why they get banned within the first weeks of running ads. This part is by far the most important step. Again, it's so important for running profitable ads consistently. If you already got the setup, you can obviously skip this phase. But I'm revealing some stuff here that you should be aware of. And I don't think you already know this. Like, definitely our clients who had this stuff set up didn't have all of this in place, okay? So you need to think about Meta ads as a hierarchy. You have your personal Facebook profile, which is connected to everything. It's connected with the business manager, and the business manager is then connected with your page, with your ad accounts, with your Instagram account, and so on. It's basically the hub that is still tied to your Facebook profile to see that there's a real person behind it, okay? Now, the personal Facebook account is the root. Again, everything is tied to it. If this account gets flagged, everything is at risk. And this happened to us one time. Okay, so business manager was down, our ad account was down, the pixel was down, every single thing. Meta uses your personal account to verify that a real human is behind it. Well, we see this guy, for example, Ken Morico, right? Seems like a pretty normal dude, right? And a brand new personal account with no activity. For example, this guy has 200 friends. Oh, this is a good account. Maybe we're gonna buy his account soon, right? And what? No, you can't buy Facebook accounts. Then do this, okay? So a brand new personal account with no activity is a red flag to Meta's trust algorithm. Meaning when you connect this account, when you create a new account, you connect it instantly to a business manager. My friend, you're flagging yourself within the first 3 to 5 days, okay? So solution is to use a real 3 to 6 months old account with ideally posts and some connections. And enable 2FA immediately on your Facebook account, one of the most important trust signals. And do not share account login to other people. Meta tracks your IP and your location, meaning we've done this, and it was probably the reason why we got blocked. When you share your account to someone who's sitting in Miami right now, okay, Meta will probably block you for that, okay? Simply because they know that now they know obviously you can't skip through from in my case from Germany to you can't go from Germany to Miami in I don't know, like 15 minutes, right? Okay. So with that being said, another very important thing is a professional Instagram account, because many placements on Meta require a connected Instagram account. It also allows you to retarget people who've interacted with your Instagram and will significantly lower your CPM and CPLs. Meaning, when you already have a good Instagram account in place, running ads will be way more easy. And I'm going to talk about this in just a second. Important, it must be a professional account. Connect your IG account to your Facebook page in the business manager. Yeah, which gets it to the business manager. And the business manager is the central hub where you manage all of your advertising assets. Okay. So you ad account, I think it's called Meta Business Suite right now, your pixels, your team, your Facebook page, and your payment methods. And we have something called the 14-day rule. After creating a new business manager, do not immediately create an ad account or start running ads. Let the business manager set aside for at least 14 days, because Meta will flag and ban this new BM if you start advertising immediately. Okay. And this will also get you rewarded with lower CPMs, because what a lot of you guys might not know, that Meta rewards account, look, I've got this mapped out over here. We're going to talk about this in depth in a second. So basically, Meta wants to promote positive user experience, right? We want to help ensure that the ads don't detract from the overall experience. Now, with that being said, Meta wants obviously only vetted advertisers on trusted advertisers to take advertising space on their platforms. And if someone creates an account there and is laying around for 1 day, obviously he has a lower trust score than someone who has an account for already like 1 or 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the Facebook account, same thing with the Instagram account, same thing with the ad account, with every single thing. This is because Meta wants to primarily protect their users from people who come in and basically distract from the overall user experience. Let's say it like this. And very important, you need to verify your business. This is what a lot of people don't do. So in the business manager, when you go to settings, verification, you can see verify yourself for an organization for the ad account. And basically you need to verify yourself over there, which use LLC details. Very important. Because very important thing, guys. The business manager has a very lower probability to get shut down than the ad accounts. So when we think about probability to get flagged or shut down, it decreases. Okay. So you want to protect your business manager. You can add a Facebook page to your business manager that you then can use obviously to run the ads from. An Instagram account, again, as I said, only professional Instagram accounts, and you can create your pixel. One of the pixels that we're currently using. One important thing here, guys, with pixels, you want to create them at the BM, at the business manager level. One simple reason for that. Assuming you create them at the ad account level and your ad account gets taken down, your pixel is gone. And the pixel is what makes you unique. The pixel is kind of an asset that you build. An asset with a meta pixel can be so valuable. Like I would pay $50,000, $100,000 for some pixels out there in the world, right? The pixel is the most important thing, and you want to make sure it's protected so it sits at the business manager level. Okay. You can create it in the datasets tab. And again, another thing, payment methods. Meta now revamps kind of their ad payment policy. So essentially, you can only make your payments via invoice or debit starting next month, but only for big advertisers. Okay. Like again, these people going crazy. Meta said, especially for people spending a lot of money, because obviously they don't want these guys to pay with credit cards. They lastly can't pay their credits, right? So high spend advertisers are forced to switch to bank payments. Most of you guys won't. And essentially one important thing with payment methods, you want to add one payment method per ad account, because Meta obviously tracks your name tracks your data, tracks where this what this payment card, this card for example, is connected to. And if you use the same card for all of these accounts, Meta knows that these accounts are connected with each other, and when one account with this payment method gets flagged, there's a very high probability that the other ad account gets flagged as well, what you obviously don't want. Okay, for some gems that I'm laying down here, very important for you guys, keep this in mind. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Even if you have all of this set up, I don't know if you have your business verified. I don't know if you're following these 14-day rules. I don't know if you have your pixel at your BM level. I don't know if you have only one payment method per ad account. Okay. Now for ad accounts, create your ad account only after the business manager has been live for at least 7 days. Okay. You create your ad account over there when you go to create a new ad account. Okay, and the ad account has a way higher probability to get flagged than the business manager. You want to create various ad accounts whenever Meta lets you. Okay, so there's basically a limit. Well, client just told me that there's kind of the possibility to buy a BM2000 where you basically can have 2,000 ad accounts. Obviously, very valuable, but generally you can have like 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes even 60 ad accounts. Okay, and you always want to create one when Meta lets you to make sure when your ad account gets flagged that the other ones are warmed up. Okay, and add one payment method per ad account because Meta will flag your second account too if you're using the same card. Right. So after the 24-hour payment method buffer, start with the very low spend engagement campaign on your ad account. Then run an engagement campaign with a spend of 5 to 10 days and ramp it up for 10 days, $10 a day, 10% a day. Okay. Add only 1 to 2 ads to the ads to reduce the probability to get flagged, like that your ad creatives get flagged, which will obviously get your account flagged. And then let that run for 7 days, and then you can set up your real direct response campaigns. And with that being said, guys, these are the best practices for the setup phase. Let's get right into how to set up your pixel and the conversions API. Very important topic. Okay, so the pixel is the most important component of your entire ad campaigns, literally. The pixel is basically the thing, the data base that will print you all your money if you condition it the right way. So always create a pixel first of all at your business manager level, because if not, it will be lost when your ad account gets shut down, meaning years of progress could get lost. Okay, the pixel is a JavaScript code that tracks what prospects do on your website and lets you optimize for certain website events. Meaning there are different things that people can do on your website, right? They could purchase, watch this video, click this button, fill out a form, watch this video, view this website. So basically, and also purchase, initiate checkout, add to cart when it's a product, right? They could schedule a call with someone. They could complete a registration. They could submit an application. They could be simply, I don't know, filling out a free lead magnet form where they basically opt in and they get a free lead magnet. They could, obviously this would be on Instagram and on Facebook. They could follow you. They could watch a video. They could like your post. They could simply view something, right? And the pixel tracks all of the things. And it lets you optimize for whatever you want to optimize for on your website. So I can optimize for people who buy. I can optimize for people who add something to their cart. I can optimize for people who submit an application. I can optimize for people who schedule a form, or I could optimize for people who simply want to buy a lead magnet, who simply want to get a lead magnet to start. Now, very important thing, there are high quality, mid quality, and low quality standard events. That's probably one of the most important things that you're going to take from this video. If you're optimizing for a low quality standard event, you're automatically telling Meta kind of like to pick your brokies. Okay, so you have the ability to tell Meta to optimize for high quality leads through picking the right standard event and optimizing your pixel for it, and especially your campaigns, right? Now, a high quality standard event is purchase, it's initiate checkout, it's add to cart, it's even schedule, and it's even complete registration. Okay, because this tells us a lot about our buy, right? Now, obviously, probably I would even rather rate, schedule, and complete registration as a mid-quality event, okay? But purchase, initiate, checkout, add to cart are the highest quality events because people kind of initially take an action of wanting to add a certain product to their cart. They're even checking out, they're even buying. You can literally tell Meta, okay, I want people who have purchased in the past, and I want to optimize for these people. I want to optimize for action takers only, for people who buy, okay? And compared to someone who only opts in to get a free lead magnet, which is essentially event lead, and why you shouldn't use it for your webinar campaigns. You know, a lot of you might be doing this. You're telling Meta, okay, I want this low quality people who are looking for free lead magnets and free opt-outs. These are the kind of people that you're optimizing for. If you optimize for lead. Same thing with follower, or same thing with through play, right? These are people who take no action. Maybe they submit an application, maybe they opt in, but it's no real action guide. Compared to someone who actually schedules a call, for example, with a sales team, where it actually commits to a one-on-one call, this is different than just opting in for a free lead magnet, right? It actually signalizes intent, which is why it's a mid-quality event, and obviously purchasing buying would be a high-quality event. So depending on your campaign, you should always optimize for the highest quality event. Now I want to show you something very interesting. When you think about standard events versus custom conversions, because what I did in the past and what I'm seeing from a lot of advertisers out there is that you guys are mostly optimizing for custom conversions. Now, what is a custom conversion? Let's first talk about standard events. When we have a standard event, and when you think about a standard event, essentially is your targeting, okay? A standard event determines who you can target on Meta's platform. When these are all the different standard events that we have, right? And then basically when I select the standard event purchase, I can only select this part of the audience on Meta, okay? Because I'm optimizing for people who have purchased in the past, and I'm optimizing for people who, based on the data points, are similar to people who purchased in the past, especially in the same niche, the same messaging around it. Now, when I optimize for schedule, I only have access to this audience, because only this are people who have scheduled in the past and people who are similar to it. Everyone who's purchased isn't in my audience. Everyone who viewed something isn't in my audience. Everyone who added something to their cart isn't in my audience. Now, when I optimize for lead, I have access to this audience. Okay, when you think about these are hundreds of thousands of people, even millions of people in these audiences in there, right? And when I optimize for lead, I only get access to this audience. So basically, I'm excluding multiple million people through selecting the standard event. Now, this is with standard events, but you still have access to everything what happened before. So with standard event, you have access to everything that advertisers have done before on Meta's platform, meaning if they bought, you have access to everyone who used the standard event lead before in their campaigns to optimize for a lead magnet, for example, right? You have access to their data, what happened, and to all the other users who selected this event in the past. But when you go with a custom conversion, it means you're telling Meta, no, I want to create my own event. Okay. You're literally telling it to fish in a pod that only belongs to your website. As you can see my website over there below, youronlinefo.com. Now, if you do this, you're excluding all the advertising history from like millions of people where we have data on from your events. Okay, it still works. We're still seeing good ROAS on our custom conversion events. However, it's not what you should do, right? Especially if you have the chance to set it up from scratch. Always go with standard events. Always go with the most data available. Okay, very important step. This will highly define the lead quality that you're getting into your funnel. And now, the pixel is one thing to track. Another thing to track events is the conversions API, or better said, to send events back. The conversions API was developed because of the iOS 14 update, ad blockers and pixel blockers. Like basically because Meta noticed that more and more devices actually were able to block its pixel code on the websites, right? Because as we said, it's a code that we put on the websites. Now, instead of tracking the browser side, because this code was tracked in the browser, Meta then switched to tracking the server-side behavior directly from your server host backend. So when you think about where your website is hosted, for example, or your server is hosted, this is your server, okay? And Meta is tracking the codes over there, and you can do this either through doing it yourself on your service backend, which is what we guys are doing with our developers, or you can pay a third-party service, for example, for this, and then simply integrate the conversions API and then send data from your server to Meta server. So not from your browser, but from your server, okay? And this way, your event matching accuracy goes from 80 to 90% through the pixel, which is still very, very accurate, to nearly 99%, especially if you have both the conversions API and the Meta pixel in place. This is from one of our ad campaigns, guys. Just wanted to show you this. Plus 14% events reported from the conversions API server was the pixel alone. And we have advanced matching as well, where we have here complete registration. This is a webinar campaign where we have advanced matching set up, email, first name, last name, phone, and so on. Right. Also very important, and I can always recommend you to turn on advanced matching. Now, very important thing is event deduplication. So when you obviously have the conversions API and the pixel in place, and you have both installed, what I would recommend you, you are duplicating events because you're sending events back twice, one time through conversions API and another time through the pixel. So in this case, you need to make sure the events get deduplicated, right? If you don't know how to set this up, reach out to me again in my DMs. By the way, if you want any of this completely done for you, I'm obviously offering the service on not only media buying, like literally every single thing that comes with running ads. So no matter if that's setting up your landing page, because the landing page needs to be compliant too. And if I don't have control over the landing page, over the entire marketing that we do in that direction, running ads makes no sense, because running ads needs to be aligned on every single step of the funnel, right? Again, if you want me to come in there, DM me at simon.asman or book a free call with me on my website, growinginfo.com. But with that being said, let's try to continue over you. So you must have event duplication in place. As you can see over there, we've got an event and we've got 19 browser events and 19 server events, 100% events coverage. But obviously, we want them to be deduplicated, right? Now, I really want to think of your pixel as this fortress. So your pixel sits here in this fortress, okay, protected from the walls, from the moat over there. And you really want to have kind of a conditional logic or a routing form, a qualification form, which symbolizes your bridge. And everyone who isn't qualified falls off the bridge in the moat and basically will never be able to reach your pixel. Okay, you only want qualified buyers to reach your pixel, as you can see over there. Okay, and this is kind of like the image that I want you to keep in mind when you think about running ads. Protect your pixel. If you let in these unqualified people come through and hit your pixel, it will optimize for more unqualified people because it operates on recency bias. Meaning, if the last 100 people were unqualified that it attracted, it will attract more of these people, even though it had attracted, 5,000 qualified people before. Okay, meaning you will end up attracting brokers only in your farm, and you will burn money on ads. So if you're filtering for qualified leads only through something like a qualifier, for example, you will attract more qualified leads through your pixel, and your pixel becomes a money printer. Okay, and you do this through conditional logic, meaning there are different routes that my leads could take, right? A lot of different routes, but essentially lots of them lead to unqualified pages which aren't pixel or which I'm not optimizing for. Ideally, they aren't even pixel. And then there are certain routes when they qualify, when they have certain conditions that I want to make them hit my pixel, right? With that being said, sorry guys. With that being said, let's dive right into the different ad types. Hell yeah, you notice I'm a bit sick, but no worries. This video is going to be, I'm going to lay down every single thing that you need to know. Okay. So with different ad types, we have direct response ads, engagement ads, hell yeah, and Hamilton ads. Now, the direct response ads are designed to push leads to an instant action. This is important, guys, because you need to think about when running ads, you always want to think about what is my main goal? Like, why do I want to run this ads? What do I want to do? Because always people tell me sometimes, can you run ads for me? Like, man, what do you want to do? How much are you planning to spend? What do you want to optimize for? Do you just want some engagement? Do you want to make money? Obviously, do you need a Hamilton campaign, right? So essentially, direct response ads are the ads that you guys know out there if you think about running ads, okay? These are the ads that are designed to push leads to an instant action. Action could be clicking on the link, signing up for a webinar, watching a video, buying a product, or scheduling a call with your sales team, or any other action that they can possibly take, okay? Now, direct response ad strategies are so effective because they directly optimize for the desired action, and you see their performance within hours, meaning you're getting your data back. Okay. And this is very important, guys. Like, if your pixel isn't getting any data from your ad campaigns for a certain time, while what happens is your pixel essentially fishes in this bucket, right? And if it doesn't get any data from all of these buckets back, it will completely trip out, switch to this bucket, switch to this bucket, switch to this bucket, and completely lose track. Okay, so you want to make sure you give it a bucket where it has buyers in there and report this data back. Okay, and you do this through optimizing for campaigns that report back data immediately, as a direct response campaign, for example. One campaign type are webinar campaigns. Webinar campaigns should optimize for a complete registration. If you're running webinars, this tip alone, like this advice alone, will probably help you 2x your ROAS, if not more. Okay. If you optimize for complete registration, not for lead, you will attract way higher quality people, because complete registration is what is associated with running a webinar. When we think about webinars, okay, do we want people in there who actually complete a registration for an event, or who completed registration for an event in the past? Or do we want people who opted in for a free lead magnet? Now, obviously, we want people who completed their registration. Okay, webinar campaigns are lead campaigns, but not the lead standard event. So when we think over there about our campaign setup, we want to select leads. Okay. Now, the webinar thank you page is where our pixel sits. Okay, it sits on the thank you / registered page. That means whenever someone hits the registered page, he will count as one complete registration. If the lead quality is back, what we want to do is we want to install 2 different webinar / registered pages. And only leads who fill out a pre-qualifying question correctly are allowed to hit our pixel, and the other ones will get routed to this not pixel page. As you can see, there's no pixel on it. No, over there, this is the page where we want our bias to be. Okay? Now, this is basically how you set up a webinar campaign. It's very simple. Pixel sits on the registered page. You're optimizing for complete registration. Now, obviously, a pixel needs to send back the complete registration event. And when you get a bunch of brokies, add a qualifying question, something like, are you able to invest into inventory? Or do you have more than 10 hours to invest? No, maybe not something like this. Something like, you already have Amazon experience. And we only want people with experience because we want to optimize for in-market, right? Stuff like that. And it's a complete registration event, as you can see over there. Okay. Now, with that being said, guys, call funnel campaigns. Yeah, our good call / ROAS alpha. So call funnel campaigns should always optimize for schedule, not for lead, because this is a way higher quality one. Okay. This way, the Meta AI has access to all the data of advertisers who've used the schedule when to book sales calls for the teams in the past. Again, optimized for schedule, as you can see over there, per website schedule. Call funnel campaigns are lead campaigns and not standard, and again, not standard event. They're still lead in the campaign level, but they're not the standard event lead. And this is a very important differentiation. Now we have a call funnel thank you page, okay? And on the call funnel thank you page is where Pixel sits, okay? Whenever someone hits the confirm page, it will count as a website schedule. And here, very important thing, lead quality is way more important in a call funnel than in a webinar. Because with a webinar, you can still track less aware people who aren't that sold on the opportunity first, people who aren't that ready to take action, or even people who don't have that much to invest. Obviously, you always want to optimize for the highest awareness and for the highest budget, but when it's not possible, it's better to have it in a webinar campaign than in a call funnel campaign, because a call funnel campaign is fully automated, has a pre-recorded video on there, and doesn't have the webinar as a 2-hour live session as a massive nurturing as. So we only want to track leads who've got at least X amount to invest and a high level of interest. Okay? This is very, very important. I'm going to talk about how to attract these leads in just a second. So with that being said, how do we attract these qualified leads? Through conditional logic. Okay, so basically when someone fills out an application, as you can see over there, we have conditional logic based on their answers, how much they have to invest, for example, where they get routed to an FU page, or they get routed to another qualification branch over there, and then they can book a call. And if they were actually qualified and had more than a certain threshold to invest, we send them back to a Pixel. And if not, they can still book a call with us, okay? Because they have something like more than 1K to invest or more than 2K to invest, but they don't have 10K to invest. So we don't want to report them back, but they can still book the call. Meaning we still have people with a minimum amount such as 1K or 2K book, but we only report top earners back to the Pixel, so it can optimize for them, right? So again, we have a 2 confirmation page. When you think about number C would represent this page over there, and number B, the other confirmation page, will represent this one, and the FU page is simply a thank you button. Okay? Thank you, your team will be in touch soon. Now, this is how you set up a call funnel campaign. Then there are purchase campaigns, which could basically be low ticket to high ticket campaigns, webinar order bombs, or simply a direct purchase that you're running currently, right? This is by far the highest quality standard event that you could possibly choose for your campaigns. You're telling Meta, I want to optimize for people who are taking direct action and who've purchased products in the past. So as you can see, it's a sales campaign, first of all, right? And we're optimizing for conversion event purchase, a number of conversions, okay? Now on the purchase thank you page, we have a Pixel, and whenever someone purchases a product, he gets rerouted to the thank you page, and then a Pixel fires with the purchase value, okay? Now with purchase campaigns, you shouldn't apply conditional logic to it, because obviously you would add friction, okay? And you just want to directly optimize for buyers, so it makes no sense to have any kind of, do you have more than 10K to invest? No, right? Like take action or don't take action, right? But if you run this to a low ticket to high ticket ascension, for example, meaning you're only running this purchase campaign as a front-end offer, and your goal is to optimize for purchases on a higher price product on the back end, then lead quality obviously matters to you. But you can't influence this lead quality directly, right? However, there's one thing that you can do. By selecting the price and changing the price and putting it in a range of what I always recommend, $97 to $197, you're telling Meta, I want to optimize for people who have at least $97 to invest and who've maybe invested into products that were priced at around this price range in the past, right? Because these people are more likely to upsell on my $400 offer or my 5K offer than someone who just purchases a product for $7, right? So basically your price determines your lead quality. Again, I've got a full video on this channel about low ticket to high ticket essentials. So if you're a new subscriber, or if you haven't subscribed yet, or if you're just new to this channel, there's a full video on how you can install this funnel as well. Now, with that being said, you can basically then separate your campaigns, your direct response campaigns, into completely cold campaigns, or you run them as retargeting campaigns. You maybe have heard about these terms before. So question is, what should you choose? What does it mean? And what's actually better, right? What makes you more money? This is all what we care about. So cold means we go completely broad with our campaigns, and we ideally even exclude retargeting audiences. If your CPMs, meaning your cost per 1,000 impressions, are stable, I would nearly always advise you to go with completely broad with your audience setting for some reasons, right? So as you can see over there, your audience is broad. Broad audiences can improve performance and reach more people likely to respond. Yes, sir. I 100% agree. When you see over 205 million people in this audience in there, right? Which is absolutely insane. Now, with Meta's post Andromeda update, the AI algorithm update, it literally tells you to stop using pocket audiences, meaning kind of retargeting audiences, and trust into Meta's post Andromeda broad targeting system. Because in the post Andromeda world, your messaging matters more than ever, matters way more than your audience settings, and determines your targeting. Meaning the more you nail your ad creatives and the marketing angles, the more Meta will reward you, right? And it says it can do it better than you selecting the audience settings. So what I do, I trust in Meta's 56,000 data points per user. Okay, these platforms are trillion-dollar companies, and they make money when we make money and come back to invest more money on their advertising platform. So they want to make us money as well, right? So as you can see, this is about the audience over there. What I just did is obviously select the location United States, select the language as English or English US, because I wanted mainly the speakers in there, and select the age to 20 to 60, right? So you can still select this, but I wouldn't select more in this case. And this is simply because I know a lot of people might be asking, yo, why don't you use retargeting in there? Simply because Meta does retargeting automatically, okay? Through Meta's new Andromeda AI machine learning machine, one machine too much, however, Meta optimizes for the highest probability of a potential lead to perform the desired action at the lowest cost possible. Let's read this again, right? Meta optimizes for the highest probability, how likely, the likelihood, right, of a potential lead. All these people out there, it calculates the highest probability of this lead to perform the desired action, meaning the thing that you optimize for, let's say to purchase, at the lowest cost possible for you. This is what Meta does for you. It literally does all the work for you, right? So it will automatically retarget leads who have previously interacted with your profile, obviously, even if you go completely broad. Because these people have data points with your profile, they're more likely to convert. Meta knows all of this, right? They know that people out there have engaged with your profile might be more likely. However, there might be a lot of people out there who haven't engaged with you yet, who are likelier to convert than some people of your retargeting audiences. So does your retargeting automatically and still optimizes for the lowest cost possible when you go completely broad. However, when you select a pocket audience, you're actively telling Meta, a trillion-dollar company, I think I can do targeting better than you guys and acquire customers for a lower cost possible. No, I don't guess that. I don't think I can do that better than Meta, right? Of having generated $400,000, I don't think I can do this better than Meta. However, there are some cases where retargeting still makes sense, obviously, and you can always. What I always advise you guys to do is test, like split test. Split test your retargeting audiences with retargeting campaigns with a completely broad campaign, and then compare, see what works better. Okay, because maybe for you retargeting might work pretty well. I don't know. So, for example, when you want to set up retargeting, you obviously need to set up the retargeting audience first, and you do this through selecting a
place an audience source where a person have basically shown interest in your product, product or in your business, right? And this could be the website. So it could be URL traffic of a certain landing page. This could be video engagement on Meta. This could be Facebook engagement. This could be Instagram engagement. So what we always do is when you want to create and customize, we create one retargeting audience for Facebook engagement and another retargeting audience for Instagram engagement. Okay. And then I want to select everything in here, right? You can basically include all of the stuff. I want to select people who follow this account, people who are engaged with this account, people who visited the profile, people who engage with any post or ad. And I think this is for Instagram. Yeah. People who send a message, people who saved any post or ad. I want to add all of the stuff, do the same thing for Facebook. And then I have my Facebook retargeting and my Instagram retargeting audience. And I put these two audiences together into one saved audience, which includes this two custom audiences. And this is my broad, big retargeting audience, okay? And I want to set this for 365 days to make sure I include all of the leads in it. Now, when your CPMs are too high, this is a main reason why you should use retargeting. When your CPMs are too high, definitely try split testing a completely cold and a warm retargeting campaign. Simply because retargeting lets you lower your CPMs because people have engaged with your profile earlier. Meta knows this. Meta is more likely to bring you ads in your post in front of these same people. Okay? Meaning your cost per millis, your cost per 1,000 impressions goes down. Optimize for all Facebook and Instagram engagement, especially when running the forest engagement campaign, which we're going to talk about in the next part. Yeah, exactly. So basically, I just want to show you when retargeting makes a lot of sense. Well, for example, a webinar campaign, we always use conditional logic for this kind of things. So we think about if this, then that logic, right? If someone registered for a webinar. Now, next thing is the presentation that happens. Then he can no-show to the presentation, meaning we retarget no-shows with personalized ads that acknowledge reasons for no-showing. We break down what they missed. We emphasize the pain of inaction. We handle certain objections they might have, and because of those objections, they no-show, and then we CTA them to watch the replay. Another thing could be, obviously, he doesn't no-show, but he attends. And then he books a call or who doesn't book a call. Now, we retarget people who didn't book. With ads that acknowledge reasons for not booking, emphasize pain of inaction, and handle objections. And then when we choose massive proof, client wins, break down the offer, and we CTA them again to watch the replay, or on this replay page, they can then book a call. Now, the next thing that happens from booking a call is they can show up or they can no-show. We retarget no-shows again with ads that acknowledge reasons for no-showing to the call and not to the webinar. So we can say something like, okay, so you've booked a call with us, but for any reason in the world, you didn't show up. And hey, man, I get it. Like, life happens. Or maybe you just didn't have enough information about us. And you just wanted to make sure that you actually commit to something which makes sense for you. So with that being said, I just want to make sure I give you as much information as possible to help you do your due diligence and be as well informed possible to make the best decision for you and your current situation and your business, right? So I've prepared an entire full additional training for you where I break down every single thing, every single open question that you might still have. Yeah, it's all available for the next 2 or 3 days. Make sure to check it out. I would love to see you on the other side, right? So you retire him with this or with a full objection handling asset, for example, with a client interview with massive authority, proof, positioning, and trust, right? And then you CTA them to watch a free training, which is basically you with your cell phone. And then they can obviously show up and they can, and then they can buy or they don't buy, right? And when they don't buy, we still want to retarget them. We want to retarget these non-buyers with personalized ads that introduce massive trust, handle objections, include third-party proof, and client wins, and offer a special discount or an additional offer component, right? This is a very good thing to do. Like when someone doesn't buy, obviously he doesn't buy because he still has open objections. He doesn't trust you too much. So you want to introduce massive student proof. You want to introduce yourself as an authority and ideally offer a special discount or something like another component to convert these guys and get them off the edge. Right? They are very, very, very warm. They already were on a call, but for any reason they didn't buy. And then you CTA them to the VSL funnel and book them in again. Right? Now keep in mind for this, you can't probably, based on your audience size, retarget all of these. Because when you think about running a webinar, let's say we have 1,000, 2,000 people in there. You want to retarget no-shows? Okay, this is definitely possible. We want to retarget people who didn't book? Still possible. Then we want to retarget people who didn't show to a call. Here's where it gets a bit difficult, because you need to have at least 100 no-shows in this custom audience to be able to effectively retarget them on Meta. If not, it doesn't work. Okay, same thing for the buyers. So if you don't have this in place, I would rather retarget these guys with an email, for example. Okay, but again, obviously for the no-shows and obviously for the people who didn't book, this is where you can make the most money. Now, this is how retargeting works. It always works in an if this then that logic. It can make sense for you depending on your current setup, right? Now, with that being said, this is everything you need to know about a direct response campaign, right? We talked about the different campaigns that you could run, about how retargeting works, and about how broad and completely cold targeting works as well. Now, the next campaign type is going to be engagement. Yeah, and engagement campaigns basically have one goal. The primary goal of an engagement campaign is to lower the cost for your direct response ad campaign. Okay, and they do this mainly through two different mechanisms. Through lower CPMs, this is what I talked about earlier, this is the same thing with the retargeting, and through warming up the leads, making them more likely to convert. Okay, so basically increasing your click-through rates and lowering your costs. Now, you need to understand that the more people interact with your Instagram or Facebook page, the more Meta rewards you with lower CPMs. Through building more touch points with accounts, Meta knows what to optimize for. Okay, it's automatically retargeting these leads with the direct response ad campaign step. So you're kind of building your pool of a warm audience, even though when you go completely broad and don't retarget them directly, you're still more likely to retarget these guys because they built a touch point with your profile, right? Meta's post Andromeda algorithm knows this. You leverage something called the familiarity bias. We will talk about this more in a second in the Hamilton section, where the more leads you see, the more they will like you and perform the desired action. You're in the world all the time, okay? And on top of that, you're hitting them through different marketing angles without a CTA before you're pitching them, which kind of seems very organic, right? And you're seeing someone, you just think about it. The first touch point you have with someone is someone trying to pitch you something, right? Or the first touch point could be this guy just sharing some education or just doing some stuff, right? Some type of fun and stuff. Now, engagement campaigns give an organic feeling, okay? They should feel like a completely normal organic Instagram reel in your ICP feed. Meta will reward this because when you think about promoting positive user experience, right? This is what is written in their very own guidelines. Now, engagement campaigns can optimize for different events, right? As you can see, it's an engagement campaign. And the conversion location would be on my ads. It could be engagement time video views, and I could maximize for through plays, for example. Or I could just simply maximize for post engagement over there, right? Maximize engagement with a post. Now, you need to think about, when you think about what to choose, I can tell you what's better. I just think about this from a logical perspective. And when I think about what is our main goal with an engagement campaign, we want to get awareness, right? We want to have as much awareness as possible, right? And they want good awareness. I don't want people who just click on this and give it a like and just comment or whatever. I want people who actually stay until the end. So I'll maximize for through plays, okay? Because awareness of a video, when someone is actually aware of a video, is when he watches the entire video, right? Because obviously someone could just see this video, I think this guy looks good, give it a like, and continue, right? Now, we leverage this engagement campaigns and integrate them with a direct response campaign through the harvest strategy. Again, you do not need to run the strategy. You can just simply run this engagement campaign separate from the strategy, and it will still have positive effects. Just simply, as I said, you don't need to retarget necessarily. You can go completely broad. and you will still have benefits. So with that being said, the harvest strategy essentially means that you have certain Instagram points, certain Facebook posts, certain you have basically a bucket of posts, which could be 10 different posts, for example, on Instagram, on Facebook, or whatever. And then people who watch at least 10 seconds of this post will enter a retargeting audience. Okay. So first of all, you're kind of making these guys aware through the harvester strategy. And this is basically a bin where they get rotated through with 10 different posts. And then when someone watches 10 seconds of these videos, they get added to a retargeting audience. This is where you then want to target them with direct response ads. So you're kind of laying up the deal with your engagement campaign and then swiping up the liquidity out of this entire audience. Okay, this is, for example, how you could effectively leverage the strategy. Again, they see this video first, which has no CTA, but just by seeing this video, I can track them and add them to my 10-second video audience for each of these videos. And then for each of these videos, I want to create one massive retargeting audiences called the harvester audience. And then I want to tag this audience with my direct response ads. Right? Now, this is basically, these are the like engagement and direct response are the two main campaigns that you can run right now, right? However, there's one more called the Hammer campaign, which is a very, 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 very special but very effective campaign that can literally double your ROAS, if not more. Okay. So Hammer ads are a very special type of engagement campaign. It's usually a retargeting engagement campaign. They are they're the most important ad campaign types to significantly increase your call or webinar show-up rates. But when you think about why do show-up rates matter, I would just want to like make a small, let's do some maths together, right? Let's say I'm running a no hammer webinar campaign. I have 2,000 registrants. I have 300 show-ups, which is a 15% show-up rate, which is definitely the case for cold webinars. And then we have 30 booked calls. Okay, let's also assume we don't have email marketing. We don't have anything there in place. I'm booking 30 booked calls from this, right? A 10% call booking rate, which is okay. And then I have 15 call show-ups, which is a 50% show-up rate. And then my closes close 20%, which would be a 3 closes. Let's say I'm selling this off for $10K, $30,000 revenue from this campaign. Now, compare this to running a Hammer webinar campaign. With a Hammer campaign, especially when you do it the right way and spend at least 10% of your budget on it, and do it exactly as how I teach it to you. By the way, this is a Jeremy Haynes practice, so Jeremy Haynes developed this. We're using it on our own way of it and works extremely well. So 2,000 registrants, then with a Hammer campaign, I would get 30% show-ups, especially if I have email marketing in place. Could even be higher. We had 38% show-up rates on a very similar webinar. Then I would book even more calls, because what a lot of people forget, Hammer ads aren't just about selling you show up. They're about pre-selling the pitch and pre-selling everything. So basically, through Hammer ads, you go into objections, expectations, you handle their questions. Every deep question they might have about your offer, and you introduce massive trust, which will make them more likely to even convert on your webinar. Because even if you don't handle these objections in the webinar itself, they're already pre-handled through the Hammer campaign. These leads are way warmer, which is why your booking rate will go up. Your show-up rate obviously will also go up, because what some people of you might forget, we have a Hammer campaign between these two things, between someone we have a campaign between these two things, like when someone registers and then shows up. And we have a Hammer campaign between booking a call and showing up to the call as well. Okay, guys, so essentially, let's say we're running a Hammer campaign also between these two different campaign types. And then what you need to keep in mind, like there's a Hammer campaign 1, Hammer campaign 2. Okay, so it's not only one Hammer campaign. Obviously, we're spending more, but we're getting way more back, as you can see over there. With the same close rate, this would be around 12 closes with a 10K revenue, 10K offer, 120K, $120,000 revenue from the same campaign simply by implementing a M&M strategy, right? Now, and again, this could even be higher than 30% over there. Now, the main thing why a M&M campaign strategy matters is because you need to think about, like, when someone opts in for your webinar, right? Or books a call with you. That's basically the initial contact over there, right? And they're in a state where they need more information. They want more information to understand the value for you're offering and then to complete the deal. Okay, so after registering or booking a call, leads need more information to understand the value of what you're offering. They're skeptical because they have some pre-built objections, for example, and they want to know what they can expect. And they have very, very, very specific questions. So not answering these questions is the biggest no-show reason. And when we basically think about the 4 quadrants of content, this is everything that you want to answer to basically get leads to show up and to answer every single one of these reasons. So this could be a first layer questions, it could be second layer questions, it could be expectations, this could be objections, like every single thing in there. You want to, like, literally, you want to answer all of these different questions that these guys have, like first layer, second layer, objections, expectations, every single thing there. When you answer these questions, you're taking advantage of 2 different, basically biases, let's say mechanisms through how the M&M ads increase your show rates and your overall conversion rates. One is the mere exposure effect. So the higher the exposure is, the higher the familiarity with us and the higher the likability. Meaning, the more we get in front of people, the more often we do this, the more they will like us because we simply becoming familiar with them. They help us be in the world of our leads. Okay, every single time they open social media because we retarget them. Now, they serve as reminders too. Don't forget this, because some people might simply forget, right? And have the lead grow familiar with us. Now, on top of that, more important, even way more important than this, is value. So we want to make sure leads are as nurtured as possible before they actually when takes place. What we guys are doing is we're essentially pre-selling the actual sale that happens on the call or on the webinar, okay, through a M&M campaign by making sure they are as nurtured as possible. This is what I call subtle selling, because when you think about why, if someone truly believes that your webinar, for example, or your call is going to be insanely valuable and that you're selling some good stuff over there, he will show up automatically. But if he doesn't understand the value of what you're offering, if he, like, kind of all of your emails that you're sending him are kind of like testimonials without anything true behind there, like anything valuable that you share right now, like in the emails and the M&M ads, they must be aha. For example, when I did an M&M ad, I would tell you, okay, guys, so if you're currently running ads, you should not do retargeting, simply because Meta's AI is automatically retargeting things for you, and you're literally competing with $1 trillion company if you do retargeting. So on my webinar, I'm breaking down every single thing I know about running ads, and this is literally just a fraction of what I'm going to share, as you can see in this video, for example. Would you be more likely to show up to my webinar if you're currently running ads and you're doing retargeting campaigns and you're not getting the results that you want? Well, obviously you will, right? That's why M&M ads do not only increase the show rates, but they also increase their close rates, because we're warming up leads, okay? And they shorten our sales cycles this way. Let's say, like, someone shows up to a webinar, directly books, sale, bam. But they could show up to a webinar, then no show to the call, then again book them in again, and their sales cycle would be, instead of being like 7 days, it would be 14 days, meaning we have less money to reinvest, meaning we can't scale, okay? So since some users prefer short form and other users prefer long form content a lot more, we run 2 different M&M campaigns, a short form campaign and the long form campaign, okay? Now, a very important thing, short form campaign is what you need to set up, in my opinion. Like, this is very, very important. Long form campaign is if you still have some money to spend on campaigns and you're looking for even better show rate, go with it. One of the short form campaigns that we're currently running for a client, you see we're spending a lot of money on it as well. $1 cost per through play, meaning it costs us $1.40 to get someone to watch our entire video, right? And in these short form M&M campaigns, we want to have at least 25 to 30 different short form videos which target the 4 quadrants of content, okay? Now, each ad must be placed in an individual ad set and include 3 second video exclusion. So the moment people see us, they get to see basically different objection handling assets in just a form, instead of just one, right? So we add these guys to an ad set, right? And then in this ad set, we have the audience exclusion of 3 seconds, just to make sure it's kind of a cycle. But like, we want to make sure our lead sees this ad. We want to make sure once they've seen this ad, they see this ad. We want to make sure they see this ad, right? So they get hit by very different angles. So for example, one person might be worried about the first 60 days of starting this business. Another one wants to have some student results. Another person wants to see how a supplier call goes. Another person wants to see how they can read the product chart, right? And this is our different angles that we're basically selling to them through our Hammer ads. And our frequency, as you can see over there, should be at least 15, meaning people see at least 15 different videos before they show up to the webinar. And we retarget everyone who's registered for the webinar and booked a call, and aim for a frequency between 15 to 20. Yes, this is what I already said. As you can see, our retargeting audiences is the Hammer audience, which is basically our URL traffic on the registered page in the last 5 days, for example. And our exclusion are people who've watched at least 3 seconds of this video, which is called first 60 days video, right? Now, if you watch 3 seconds of this video, you won't see it again. You will see one of the other videos to make sure they get all of the different videos, right? Now, long-form Hammer campaign, very, very similar. You can see cost per through place is obviously higher since it's a long-form content piece. We want to add at least 15 to different long-form videos that target 4 quadrants of content. This can be value-only parts of YouTube videos, client interviews, podcasts, even training parts, or previous webinar recordings. You need to make sure with this long-form videos, since they're obviously longer, that they don't include intro or outro sections that are really like value pure, especially when you use YouTube videos. And then we add a 10-second video exclusion to each ad set to make sure that leads watch a bit more of the video. No, not 3 seconds, but 10 seconds since it's long form, right? Meaning their awareness is higher of this video, and then we show them the next video. Again, a lot of different videos over there, how to scale, why my student chose me, student web, personal story, how to find suppliers. A lot of stuff, right? A lot of valuable content over there. And then we retarget everyone who's registered for the webinar or booked a call. Again, the same traffic, and exclude videos here. This video, for example, how to scale your Amazon biz with 10 seconds video exclusion. Very, 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 very important, right? And this is why I'm rewarding all the guys who are staying until the end of this video. Toggle off Advantage Plus custom audience. If you have it on, Meta will reach people beyond your custom audience. Okay, which makes absolutely no sense since it's a Hammer ad. And you want to have this Hammer ad to be only on people who obviously registered for the webinar, right? But when you target it on, Meta will target random people, right? Meaning it will target less of people who actually registered for the webinar. Meaning your Hammer ad has no, like there's no reason why you should run Hammer competitive if you target Advantage Plus custom audience on. So always toggle it off, toggle the shit off, okay? Toggle it off. Now, this is basically the Hammer campaign. And with that being said, we've talked about all the different ad types that you need to be aware of. Now, before we get into the last chapter, scaling, let's get into the ad copy, which is one of the most, probably the most important part of this video, right? You need 2 different things for an insanely good ad copy. Insanely precise messaging, and an immense output of creative value, right? And you targeting, again, ad copy is you targeting with the post Andromeda messaging. Like how you write your words determines who you get into your funnel. And your targeting isn't only just your words, it isn't just your copy. It's also every type of B-roll you use, the background, how you speak, your age, your appearance, how you dress, the soundtrack, like literally every single thing, okay? So make sure you attract affluent leads only who are already sold on the solution that you're offering, okay? And go very, very, very in market. Now, what do I mean with going in market? When you think about the market as this kind of funnel here, we have non-buyers, which are 40% of the market, which you should never ever target because you're just burning money there, people who will never buy from you. Then we have the mass market, which is where most of the big companies are at right now, which are kind of very competitive, but obviously the most money is there. Then we have the needs convinced market, which are people who already kind of have a problem and they just need to be convinced on what you're doing, on your solution. Basically, this would be problem aware people. So people who know they have a problem, they're kind of looking for a solution, but they're not sold on your solution yet. And then we have in-market people, which are only 4%, but they are already aware of their problem. They are aware of the solution, maybe even aware of the product that you're offering. So in-market people are the people who have the lowest sales friction, meaning they are the easiest to convert, meaning we want more in-market people. And because everything is so theoretic, what I just said, I thought, why not show you what it actually means? So again, the way how our ads are written, I could write ads for non-buyers, I could write ads for mass market, I could write ads for needs convinced or for in-market. And these, because as I said, you targeting is basically your ad copy, your audience selections, but since we go broad, it doesn't matter, and your standard event that you select. So let's say I select standard event schedule for a resale campaign, okay? Now, my messaging determines who I will target. If I go with an in-market messaging of existing Amazon sellers, and my messaging is someone, okay, so you're already selling on Amazon, but you're just not getting the results that you actually want. Okay, so maybe you made a few grand on there, you already got a good product to sell, but you're struggling to find real good supplier relationships and delegate tasks. And so I would target all of these existing Amazon sellers with this, right? Then when I go a bit deeper with my angle, something like I could say, okay, something like dropshipping is probably one of the worst. Dropshipping is dying in 2026, and there's a simple reason for that. Well, simply nobody's importing products from China anymore and running ads and creating demand for a product that nobody needs, right? So why don't you simply partner with US suppliers who aren't fucked by the sort of global situation and produce their products in the US and essentially basically give you the opportunity to save a lot on what would it be, supply costs, shipping costs, and on top of that you're creating demand, you're fulfilling demand, and so on, right? So dropshipping is another thing. Could be retail arbitrage people. I could say, okay, so you're still driving all over town to Walmart and flip products online on Amazon. Well, look, there's a way more profitable way to do it, wholesale, right? And then people are already doing wholesale and you're looking to scale. Okay, so you're already making a few grand with your wholesale business, but you just stuck more than 10 hours in the, but you're working more than 50 hours a week for it. Your business became your second spouse and you're looking for a way how you can make more profit without spending more hours for it. And the answer to this is delegation and so on, right? I could also target corporate 9-to-5ers, right? With my messaging. So people who are needs convinced. I could target heavy finance people. This is a kind of a subset of corporate 9-to-5ers. Again, with needs convinced, I mean corporate 9-to-5ers should obviously have a pain. So for example, okay, so you're working your corporate job, but what does it actually give you, right? I could target people who are already sold on e-commerce. So they're in market for e-commerce. Maybe not the exact business model I'm teaching, but for e-commerce. You and I both know that e-commerce is one of the most profitable markets in the world, profitable opportunities in the world. I could target agencies, but I wouldn't target agencies because it makes absolutely no sense to target agencies because they will be non-buyers, okay? I could target unaware people, which would basically be the mass market. They don't know they have a problem. They just out there around browsing on there. Don't target them. So essentially for me, I would target one of these three main big groups with my messaging, right? Now, how do we attract them? How do we actually do it in practice? How do we attract the fluent in market leads? Well, first of all, the language. You need to think about every person has its slang, okay? There's certain words your ideal customers are magnetic to, and there are other words that attract broke people. So when you think about broker language, this would be including income claims, including quick transformations, guarantees, free gifts, right? And words could be money, fast, from scratch, beginner, easy, no experience, no skills, copy and paste, plug and play, no cost, risk-free, no upfront cost, budget-friendly. A lot of people think this is great copywriting, but it's great copywriting for a market which hasn't got very much money to invest, to be honest. If you use this language in your ads, if I'm saying, Okay, so literally anyone in the world can generate more than $100,000 from scratch with no experience if you just follow my plug and play system, which is completely copy and paste. It works for complete beginners. If you've never done this before, even if you don't own a laptop, even if you have $0 to invest, it works. Okay, and it's guaranteed results. Right? You know how many ads you're seeing online sound like this. Literally every third ad sounds like this, right? And they're attracting all these brokies. Now, rich people message will be time over money, right? What we always want to emphasize, rich people don't have that much time. They want to invest maybe like 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week, and they want to get a lot of money back. They aren't averse to risk. They know that every single investment comes with risk. They don't like guarantees, right? They're focused on efficiency and long-term wealth. They're taking calculated investments. Okay, so you focus on cash flow. You use words like cash flow, margins, ROI, scalability, net profit, investment, capital, metrics, asset portfolio, delegation. This is what these guys love, right? Now, in market language, when you think about, okay, and there's also these like kind of rich people language would obviously be these guys. In market language would be this guys. There are certain words that, for example, in your niche are used, obviously, right? Like words that only people know who are in your space. For example, with ads, it would be CPMs. If I start an ad with, okay, so if your CPMs are too high right now, right? I obviously would only attract people who know what a fucking CPM is, right? Or who've heard it at least once before. So flipping products could be it for Amazon. Online arbitrage, units, retail, resale, wholesale, cost per unit, suppliers, ungated, FBA, listing, easy to find, catalog, account hub, right? Stuff like that. Now, it's not only your language, but it's also the visuals that we use. Because remember, your targeting is influenced by your background. So my visuals, my background, my B-roll, how I'm dressed, how I'm looking, must resonate with the right type of persona. So I want to attract corporate professionals. I would record this at an office with glasses. I would wear a suit. I would have a clean cut. I would wear a watch. Right? I would literally look like this guy over there, right? Now, when I want to attract people who are already into Amazon, I would show products I'm selling. I would record this ideally at a warehouse, maybe not as a warehouse that's that big, but it would still work. Show pallets and dress very, very casually, right? Now, if I want to attract brokies, I would probably do it like Tay Lopez and record this entire ad in front of my Lamborghini or whatever car it might be. And dress with costly watches, wear chains, and maybe show a Dubai skyscraper in the back, right? You get what I'm saying. Now, another big part is angles. So when we think about the moon, for example, right, there is the bright side of the moon and the dark side of the moon. One side is illuminated by the sun, and the other side is completely dark. Now we think about when we craft angles, we want to craft angles that only hit the bright side. We want to craft angles that kind of use something for our audience, right? That are on the bright side of things. And the same exact thing is true for your ads. Exactly, there are angles that simply don't work for any reason. There are other angles that perform very, very well. And picking the right angle is crucial for your ad strategy because, again, there's some angles that can literally print you millions, and others that don't work. Angles could be pain, old versus new, dream outcome, story, uncertainty, client testimonial, family, leverage, approval, and a bunch of more things. And all of these angles can then be multiplied by your personas. So, right? Basically, when I think about someone doing retail arbitrage, which is basically drive them all over town and flipping products out, I could target them with the angle of time. You know, what you're doing takes a lot of time. Maybe you're making good money. Why don't you buy in bulk? I could also target them with the angle of price, saving money. I could tell them, look, you're buying right now at retail prices. I'm buying at wholesale price, which is way cheaper. I could target them with the angle of family. Look, don't you miss it all the time to be away from your family? I could target them with the dream outcome. Don't you want to build all that freedom? Why are you actually doing this for? Does it feel good to be away like literally 40 hours a week flipping your products? Why don't you automate these things, right? I could target them with a client that's more. My client, John, was flipping products online from Walmart. Now, after he started working with me and discovered the wholesale model, he's now doing more than he made as a retail arbitrager, and he's doing it in less hours a day. And simply because he started learning wholesale, he started partnering with real suppliers instead of buying from the retail stores, and so on, right? This could be basically different angles that are just freestyle right here, that you could use for these personas. Now, another very big point is ad structure. So structuring an ad is super, super simple, but writing the copy actually isn't. And I will show you a bunch of different ads that I've written in the past year below. Now, we have a hook for ad, we have reasons, and we have a CTA. We have majority hooks. Majority hooks are very broad hooks that still attract affluent customers, okay? These can be responsible for up to 80% of the revenue. So one majority hook that we just chose were something like, okay, wars are everywhere right now, right? And then because of the war in Iran, obviously, and then we just want to say, the wars are everywhere right now, and if you're looking for, and then we go into inflation, and we go into finding skill. It's a very broad hook, right? It's a very kind of, I wouldn't always necessarily go with this broad hooks right now in the post and remnant section, because this will attract rather mass market people. However, we then like kind of niching a bit down through our messaging in the ads. A minority hook could be something like very, very kind of targeting very niche specific persona. Okay, so if you're already working a sales job right now and you have got like 5K to invest into a better education or whatever, right? So thanks to the post and German update, these are very, very effective. So I generally tend to go with minority hooks nowadays, even though majority hooks are still working very, very, very well. Okay. Now, with that being said, another big thing is diversity, guys, and we all know it. Like, we all got access to Claude and ChatGPT, all this LLMs, and Meta knows it as well. Meaning, Meta knows we have the ability to produce a lot of creative output. Meaning, it wants us to do so. Okay, so you should have at least 25 to 30 different ads with unique angles, unique hook, unique body, right, per ad set that you're launching to get the cheapest cost per action. This way, Meta's AI has more data to work with and can reward you with matching different ads to different personas and find the overall lowest cost, right? Now, you can also vary your ad formats. You could produce image ads, video ads, carousel ads, collection ads to contribute to a higher creative diversity. Static ads are great for a higher reach, but they fatigue faster and they see lower click-through rates, and in our case, get us like a worse quality leads. But they're great to test angles because you can produce them very, very quickly, right? You just need to adjust the words in Canva, for example, and change the background. Video ads take way more time than static ads because you need to record them, ideally edit them a bit, script them, and they get a lower reach, but generally a way higher click-through rate. This is why we prioritize video ads. Aim for at least 2 to 5% click-through rates if you want to really be exceptionally good. Now, ad fatigue, a thing everyone talks about and no one understands. Like, my clients so many times asking me, "Yeah, what's this ad fatigue? Is this ad fatigue? Is this ad fatigue?" No, it isn't. There are a lot of different reasons, but ad fatigue generally occurs after a few weeks and is noticeable through a low volume of results and more expensive results. And you mainly notice this through a lower click-through rate for this specific creative. Okay, ad fatigue can only occur for ads that are actually exposed and getting spent. If your ad isn't getting spent, it can't fatigue. Okay, simple as that. Add 5 to 10 new fresh angles, then fresh hooks and fresh body copy for the ad set. Turn off the ads that are fatigued, and do this every 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, it's basically something you want to do to battle ad fatigue. Now, ad compliance is another big thing in there. Just want to read through Meta's advertising policy principles over there. Protecting people from unsafe and discriminatory practices. Our policies require all advertisers to comply with the laws in their jurisdiction, not engage in discriminatory practices, and not sell illegal or unsafe substances. Protecting people from fraud and scam, from deceptive or misleading practices, promoting positive user experience, and promoting transparency. Now, the ad review process. What is review? Very important. Specific components of an ad, such as images, video, text, targeting information, as well as an ad's associated landing page or other destinations, among other information. Meaning Meta scans through all of your landing pages, and not only the first one, right? Also the other ones where your pixel sits. Meta wants you to create ads that integrate in the user's experience. They don't want you to have crazy income claims. They don't want a get-rich-quick scheme. They don't want you to help people replace their 9-to-5s. They don't want you to target personal attributes and make some groups feel offended. They don't want you to use misleading or crazy images. They don't want guaranteed results, okay? They don't want deceptive or misleading practices. That's why ads that are kind of they're still all good getting people to click on the landing pages, but they don't have a claim. Yeah, you can make $1 million in 3 months or whatever. Will get way more prioritized if they don't include this crazy income claims, because they integrate better with positive user experience, and Meta will reward you as an effect. And it also scans your landing page videos and copy word for word. So compliant headline could be, learn how to build a profitable Amazon wholesale business. A non-compliant headline on my landing page could be, if you're reading this in February, you can have a 100K Amazon business in April. You can't make claims like this on Meta. Meta will, first of all, maybe even flag you. And secondly, they it's a very deceptive claim, right? And secondly, they might not flag you, but kind of have higher costs for you, right? Now, with that being said, you now know everything about how to write compliant and good copy, exact copy. Now let's talk about how to actually write this copy before we get into scaling. Very interesting point over there as well. Now, I want to review some ads with you, right? Here are ads that I've scripted in the past for my clients. And again, I've generated more than $404,000 from ads only for my clients. Here are some in-market ads for this Amazon guy. Amazon businesses are drowning in paperwork, and their owners are drowning with them if they don't automate their lower leverage daily tasks. This is kind of like, the hook is a very, very creative hook, kind of like a majority hook. It's obviously attracting a minority, but the way it's framed, it's like Amazon owners are drowning in paperwork. It's not like something like, if you're an Amazon owner, you aren't drowning in paperwork, right? This is the next thing that happens. If you're already selling on Amazon, right, in market messaging, you will reach some point where you stack dealing with mundane tasks every single day. Pay. Stuff like emailing suppliers, analyzing product sheets, handling customer complaints. You know the story. This is very specific language that only these in-market personas resonate with. And you notice that your business, you start to earn more freedom, time with your family, became your second spouse. Now you're looking for a way that lets you run your Amazon wholesale business in the background without lowering your profit, right? This is the situation I was in a few years ago. I started selling on Amazon to have more time with my daughters, but I quickly noticed that repetitive tasks took up my calendar. So started building a well-oiled machine, a combination of AI software tools and human staff that now automates 85% of our business. Pre-trained human virtual assistants are handling most of the groundwork for me. They use software to identify profitable providers, handle my supplier communication, and build all of my purchase order. This way, I can focus on higher leverage tasks and only need to review their work. Some authority. That's how I scaled $3.5 million in personal sales over the last 4 years. And most importantly, I have time to go on vacation with my family without worrying about the business dream outcome. If you want to get access to my personal network of VAs that are already trained on my internal network, and if you want to know the exact AI tools I use to minimize workload, click below. I've prepared a free explainer video for you. So very, very, very in-market copy that we're using over there, which is talking to this exact persona who's already running an Amazon business. So when we think about targeting, we are right now there, okay? Now, next one would be garage. So a garage become your new Amazon warehouse, huh? She started selling them Amazon, made decent money, but now your garage is stacked with inventory boxes everywhere. And somewhere along the way, your own capacity became the bottleneck. Right now, you're looking for a reliable way to scale without trading more hours for it. What you're missing is a system that automates your business and tells you, if I put X in, I get reliably 30 to 50% more out. That's the same situation my client Curtis was in. He was hitting 5-figure months on Amazon, but his business started consuming most of his time. After working with me, we've automated 85% of his workflow. Today, he sends his purchase orders directly to me. An exclusive prep center that I operate for my clients. I personally place a VA on this business who handles everyday tasks so he can focus on what drives profit. And once his margins were dialed in, he got access to my interest-free business funding. If you're in a similar situation right now, just imagine what it would feel like to get your time up without sacrificing profit. I actively run an 8-7-figure business and I've prepared a full training on how you can scale your business too, right? Very in that kind of, I pulled this ad from Strong Love his students because I saw a lot of pictures of his students having products in their very own home. I was like, man, he offers his prep service. Great way to attract people. Like when you think about who's still not operating a warehouse, having products at home in his garage, people who are kind of starting with Amazon right now, they're not that advanced. They would already be prior or superior to my client, for example. But they already have some money, they're already doing the stuff, and they obviously have all these pain points that come with it. So we're targeting them directly. Okay, I won't show you all of the different ads. Another hook here is taking the right product to sell on Amazon feels like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Okay, or your Amazon business became your second spouse and you're looking for a way to get divorced, right? These are like very creative folks. Then an affluent ad, let's pick one. There could be this one. Okay, you're working a financially comfortable job right now, and deep down you know that selling on Amazon is a massive opportunity. I go unsold on e-commerce already, right? I don't only pick corporate 9-to-5ers there, I pick corporate 9-to-5ers who sold on e-commerce. You want to build a side hustle on Amazon account that gives you more flexibility and extra spending income for your loved ones. But at the same time, you don't want to quit your job or run a business that takes more than 6 to 10 hours a week. I get it. I was working a construction job that paid me more than 6 figures a year, but I was looking for a way to provide more relatability, right? So I started selling everyday product with proven demand, sourcing them directly from authorized suppliers. Over the last years, I've built a 7-figure business. It's 85% automated. I have VAs. Essentially, I'm arbitraging labor and expertise so I can higher leverage tasks. I have clients do the same. I place VIs, help them get zero interest funding. I operate a prep center. So most of my clients invest only a couple hours in their businesses. If you want to learn how you can do the same, click below to watch training. Right? So essentially with this ad, we're attracting these corporate 9-to-5ers who don't have a lot of time and money, and they want more money and build something on the side as well. But they already earning good money on the job. Why should they leave the job? They just want to build something on the side for more, right? And something that doesn't take all of the time out of them. Now, hammer them ads, for example, the 4 quadrants of content. This is an objection quadrant here, a quadrant. Time objection. Can you build a successful wholesale business while working a 9-to-5? Of course you can. I'm an example of that. Your current job doesn't give you the financial freedom. Get it? I was working 14-hour shifts, relatability. I started making time at least 1 to 2 hours a day, right? Another hammer them ad. Here, like just education. How does Amazon wholesale actually work, and why is it different from every other business model you've probably tried in the past? We're not creating demand. We do this by selling boring products. That's it. That's exactly how my students made a lot of money, right? And then they're breaking down the business model over there. We're selling brands people already know, catching strong margins. This would be first layer questions like, how does Amazon wholesale actually work, right? How soon can you expect to see results, expectations? Amazon wholesale is future-proof. Again, first or second layer questions, comparing it with other business models over there. Now, engagement ads, I just want to show you one ad over there. This is like a very engagement ads are top of funnel ads. They're very broad. They're written very broad. For example, this one. Wars are breaking out everywhere, Middle East, Europe, and nobody actually knows what's coming next. I'm not here to talk politics, but I will say the world is more uncertain than it's been in a long time. The first thing that goes is jobs. Now we're digging into the fear angle over there, right? Corporate cards and the corporate salary you've been depending on, again, qualifier, is not as safe as you think. The only thing that actually gives you real security is a skill that travels with you regardless of what's happening around. When thousands of companies across every country need, the will always need that skill as sales has been the backbone of every business for centuries. Safety, right? Rebuilding fear and then repositioning the skill as kind of the safety. And remote sales means you're not tied to one company, one country, or one currency. You can work from a business in London, from Bali, from anywhere in the world where you have internet. On this profile, all I talk about is remote sales. Follow me to learn more. And then we've got another ad with kind of you walk in the store to buy a suit. The guy who helps you figures out what you need without having to spell it out. He reads him by the end of it. You're spending more than you planned and you're completely fine. The guy's a salesman, a good one, but he's applying vertical skill to the wrong vehicle. in a store where he has to physically show up every single day and where the products aren't that worth that much. Now take the same skill and apply to a digital product, something that is built once and sold an infinite number of times. Fastest growing markets in the world. This is where we kind of selling like high ticket sales, right? They're still written very, very broad, right? This ad literally starts with, you ever walked in the store to buy a suit, right? Kind of like storytelling. People are like, curious, okay, what was he going to sell me? And it still makes sense with sales, right? So these are engagement ads. And again, here's some static ads as well. So one ad that I love is, for example, remote closing versus the corporate industry. 10% commissions per deal. Remote market growing at 20%. Work on your own school from anywhere. Scheduled owned by managers. Tied to desk and long commutes. Capped income. Another one. In market here for European sales reps. Stop trading hours for small commissions. Get into the remote sales market growing 20% a year. Start earning 10% commissions. Another one. Working an office job, you can learn remote closing to build a stable second income stream. You need a laptop and a few hours a week, and you can see over there someone like chilling, right? Like some ads that you're currently writing, stop waiting for a yearly pay raise, like remote sales, but a second income stream. This is a corporate targeting. Here, corporate 9 to 5 is set as sales. Okay, now with that being said, guys, this is essentially how we write our ad copy. Obviously, this is a service that we mainly just do for our clients. True, right? Ad copy, one of the most important things. You need to be able to write insanely good copy. I'm not using Claude for this. I use just Claude and AI tools to ideate, but when I write the ads, I write them myself. I want to make sure it's completely done them, because the better the ads, the better you're targeting, the better your ROAS. Okay. Now, with that being said, guys, you know now how to write ad copy, what ad campaigns are there, how to set up a pixel, how to set up the entire thing. The most important thing is, how do you actually scale? So once you're in there, how do you scale? And let me just run you through this really quick. So once your campaign is running, you will face the problem that scaling ad budgets isn't that easy. If you're scaling too aggressive, your CPR, your cost per result will skyrocket, and you will re-enter the learning phase. So you need to treat Meta's AI like a dog. Okay, literally think about it like the meta dog. If you communicate to the wrong way, it does what it wants and messes around, okay? But if you give it the right answers to whatever its behavior it is, it will understand you and follow along, okay? So wrong signals. An example, your CPM goes up in your campaign and your CPL as a result as well. What do? Wrong signal, you scale your spend. Meta AI thinks that you want it to spend on high-priced auctions. It thinks it can do literally whatever it wants with you, because it increases your CPM and your CPL, and you're saying, yeah, spend more, spend more, spend more. Then your CPMs increase further. Makes a lot of sense. It's kind of like a human. It's like a dog, okay? I'm telling my dog is messing around, and I'm giving my dog a goodie for it, right? Something to eat. And my dog is, hey, cool. He rewards this. But I'd say your CPM goes up, and your CPL as well, you lower spend. Meta understands that it can't do whatever it wants with you, and that you want to participate in cheaper auctions. So your CPM and your CPL decreases. And your dog, when you give your dog a nice punishment or whatever, and no punishment, but you get what I'm saying, right? When you tell him that's not correct what he's doing, he will stop messing around and follow you. So what we call, what you should essentially use to scale is progressive scaling. You shouldn't scale too aggressively, because when you scale too aggressively, you re-enter this learning phase, your CPM will skyrocket, your CPL as well, and you're rewarding it with more money. So we scale progressively. You want to always keep our CPMs and CPL consistent, and then scale consistently, kind of like an exponential function over there, right? Scale slowly and then skyrockets. And also very important for scaling, obviously, you need to make sure that the foundation, the cement of your house is in place. Sure, I can get you more customers, but do you have the capacity to handle those customers? Do you have the capacity to fulfill all those customers? Do you have enough people to close the deals, for example, right? So I just want to show you how quickly this can actually accumulate. When we think about, here's basically an ad, a sheet, a scale, like where I show you basically how you can scale spend. We generally advise you to scale your spend like 10% a day to 30% a day. depending on your campaign. Let's say you start with $100 and you like your daily budget is $100 a day, next one 110, 121, and so on. At day 30, your daily budget will be $1,500 and you already have spent $16,000. Okay. Now, very, very crazy thing. Let's say you're scaling your spend 30% a day, right? You start with $100. $130 next day, day 3, $169. And then at day 30, you will be already at $200,000 daily spend if you scale 30% a day. Crazy, right? This is how maths work. Kind of exponential function over there. And you accumulative spend. So basically, everything that you spend over the entire period of 3 months of 30 days is already nearly $1 million if you scale 30% a day, right? Absolutely sick, absolutely crazy. So keep this in mind. If you want to scale, I would generally advise you going with a 10% scale. Doesn't help us a lot giving the right signals to Meta's AI. Yeah, basically make sure you cement this in place. This is how you scale strategies. When you want to scale ads, don't scale more than 10%. Okay, with that being said, guys, this is literally every single thing that you need to know about running ads. This is everything that I know personally about having generated more than $400,000 from ads only for my clients. And now this knowledge is available to you. If you want the step-by-step technical implementation, the market research, every single thing that comes with it, because obviously what's now left is taking everything that I just laid down here, implementing it in practice and the right way for your customer. This is the most important thing. This is why I can't say your ad copy might be good or might suck, because I don't know your customer yet, right? With that being said, we want us guys to come in there, take over the entire ad campaign based on our knowledge. Feel free to DM me on Instagram at Simon@Asma, or book a free strategy call with me on growinginfo.com. All the links are in the bio. With that being said, guys, full meta ad mastery completed.